Hi everyone, good morning. Thank you everyone for joining on a Saturday morning with us. I know that weekends are meant to be, resting and easy, and that's why we try to keep this webinar light and something that's useful to a lot of you. Uh, just to start off, it's a momentous occasion because it's the first time that we're hosting a webinar. But just to get the ball, I just want to introduce Manthan once again to all of you to introduce the webinar, and then I'll hand over the mic to the sort of take it over. So, Manthan as an organization was founded just last year. It was founded by Nishkarsh and I. Both of us are been working in the spectrum of public policy for the past 9 years now, and we're extremely excited to be bringing more young people in this space because one of the biggest challenges we faced while we started off was, feeling like public policy is such an exclusive space. How do we enter? How do we become a part of this system? And I've seen so many friends drop out this space simply because they felt like they perhaps didn't belong. Uh, and on the other hand, we also, throughout our work with elected representatives, we see elected representatives wanting and seeking support. So we sort of built this organization to say that can we promote civic action by the youth of our country, which can be specifically aimed towards the capacity building of elected representatives. So next time when our parents or someone around us says that, oh, you know what, our politicians don't do anything or our country doesn't do anything, we are ready to step up and say that at least we are taking action and we are helping them and supporting them in their work. So that's sort of what Manthan does. Some of the highlights of our work is we handle the internship of the Ministry of Culture. We work with the minister's office there directly. Then we also work with multiple members of parliament. We've just launched a new program called Shakti program, which is specifically aimed towards women elected representatives. And extremely proud to say that our team is also all female. And I think that was a conscious decision to saying that if women are in general a minority in the public policy ecosystem, can as an organization we be more conscious about that and build a more inclusive space inside the organization. Uh, and on that note, it's been extremely heartening to see that. I mean, one was to create a space for that, but we introduced this program called like a mentor program in our internships, where we said that excellent interns from an outgoing batch could perhaps mentor the next batch, and not by design, not something that we consciously set out to do, but all of our mentor interns have been female. So that's something that we've seen happen, and we're extremely happy that that has happened for us. And I mean, on that note, it's also would like to sort of introduce Kriti. Kriti has been working with us for I think 2 months now, 3 months now. In fact, this is the third month, and she's sort of been a brilliant resource. Uh, she has come on board. She came on board as an intern 2 months ago, uh, working with us with the Ministry of Culture, then sort of transitioned into the role of a mentor intern. And we really liked her work and wanted to help her continue as a mentor intern for the next month also. But just before I hand over the mic to her, just to give all of you the context of why we are doing this webinar and what's the logic behind it. While we talk about public policy, we felt like perhaps as an organization, we were doing a lot of action in the sense that we were doing a lot of internships, connecting students to elected representatives, etc. But there is a much bigger spectrum of public policy. There's a need for people to just talk about public policy more. So we thought that creating a space where students themselves come and you know own this space where they're able to talk about different aspects of public policy that they have championed or they have researched upon might be a good thing. So that's where we sort of come in. Um, so yeah, I mean, so Lok Samvad is basically a webinar series that Manthan is going to hold week on week, where we are looking to bring young voices and to speak about different public policy issues that matter to them, and to also then generally create a buzz in the entire ecosystem around, you know, what is it about and how is it useful to them. So today we have Kriti speaking about digital diplomacy, which is a new concept altogether that has come in. And I think one big emphasis will be that how do we as public policy professionals understand this space and how is it useful to us? From a jobs perspective, from a careers perspective, how does all of that come together? So that's what we'll be covering. So I'll hand over the mic to Kriti to sort of just take all of you through it. How we've structured this is that we will do like a presentation, it'll be interactive, and I hope that all of you interact throughout, and you can always drop your questions in the chat box. At the end, we'll do like closing, and we'll take any closing thoughts from all of you. And we'll be really happy to get feedback from all of you offline, online, on how the webinar went, how you want it to change. But for now, just handing over the mic to Kriti. I'll just present my screen with the presentation also. Just give me 1 second. Okay, I hope my screen is visible. Yes, Kriti, please start.
Thank you, sir. So, good morning, everyone. And I would just like to give a background of myself. I have pursued international relations, and the topic for today will be digital diplomacy in public policy. Also, I would really like to thank Manthan for being a platform that has given me a chance to even explore more fields and be really interactive and develop myself and my skills a little more than I could actually do, and I would love this opportunity as well. So the webinar I will be conducting will basically talk about how public policy is important in the topic of digital diplomacy and what it actually is. So what I will start with a basic question that we all use Instagram, we all use WhatsApp, and our Instagram stories, WhatsApp status are always updated. बट क्या आज के ज़माने में एक ट्वीट किसी कंट्री की फॉरेन पॉलिसी बदल सकता है? लाइक डू यू गाइस फील कि एक इंस्टाग्राम पोस्ट से डिप्लोमेसी का एक हिस्सा कंसिडर हो सकती है वो पोस्ट? And also the question that I hope this webinar would address and you guys can think on while I start with this is, what do you think, is digital diplomacy also real diplomacy? Like इसको real diplomacy में हम consider कर सकते हैं या नहीं? So basically, what is digital diplomacy? Digital diplomacy refers to the use of digital tools and digital platforms so that diplomats can communicate, they can engage with foreign public, and they achieve their foreign policy goals as well. It encompasses a wide range of activities, including the use of social media for communication, conducting virtual negotiations, and creating online platform for public diplomacy. Now, why is digital diplomacy important? फास्टर कम्युनिकेशन प्रमोट होता है इससे. सो पहले डिप्लोमेसी सिर्फ ऑफिशियल लेटर्स एंड मीटिंग्स तक लिमिटेड थी. अब एक ट्वीट से पूरी दुनिया तक मैसेज पहुंच जाता है. सेकेंडली, वाइडर रीच मिलती है. डिजिटल टूल्स आपसे डायरेक्ट फॉरेन सिटीजन्स की एंगेजमेंट करवा सकते हैं, एंड बीइंग अ फॉरेन सिटीजन और बीइंग अ फॉरेन मेंबर यू कैन पुट योर व्यूज एज वेल ऑन दैट. सो एक वाइडर पब्लिक रीच रहता है. And third can be transparency and public diplomacy. So government अपनी foreign policy जो है वो बहुत open रखती है, and digital diplomacy has made it possible कि public का भी उसके अंदर involvement हो. Basically, digital diplomacy is not a choice anymore, it's a necessity. जो देश digital है वो globally भी visible है. एग्जाम्पल के लिए, जब इंडिया किसी देश को humanitarian aid देता है और MEA उसका ट्वीट डाल देता है, that is digital diplomacy in action itself. And global examples के लिए हम लोग रशिया वर्सेस यूक्रेन के ट्विटर वॉर्स ले सकते हैं, यूएस स्टेट डिपार्टमेंट की यूट्यूब डिप्लोमेसी ले सकते हैं. इनफैक्ट इसराइल का रियल टाइम जो मीडिया पोस्टिंग है ड्यूरिंग वॉर्स, दैट इटसेल्फ इज डिजिटल डिप्लोमेसी. इसको how is it happening is also interesting and important to understand. So it happens through various techniques, basically using digital tools like social media, digital platforms, messaging apps जैसे Twitter, Instagram हो जाते हैं, and engaging with foreign publics through information dissemination or public diplomacy campaigns, and also achieving foreign policy objectives by building relations, information gathering and negotiations. So these are a few techniques जिसके through digital diplomacy in action होती है. Now I'll be moving forward to the topic digital diplomacy and its policies. So digital diplomacy goes beyond just sharing normal online messages. It involves strategic planning and formal policies. It's about using technology to shape international relations. Like आप टेक्नोलॉजी के यूज से narratives influence कर सकते हो, trust build कर सकते हो, that too across border. In today's digital era, diplomacy is driven by policies and public engagement. It's not just closed door meetings anymore. So the first that we'll be covering is public engagement policy. This is all about governments directly interacting with people across the world through digital channels. गवर्नमेंट अब सिर्फ अपने ऑफिशियल से बात नहीं करती, वो पब्लिक से डायरेक्टली एंगेज करती है. एग्जाम्पल के लिए लाइव Q&A सेशंस हो गए, ट्विटर कैंपेन्स हो गए, ये सारी चीज़ें लोगों के साथ आपका डायरेक्ट कनेक्शन बनवाती हैं. सो दिस इज द पब्लिक एंगेजमेंट पॉलिसी दैट इट यूजेस. द सेकेंड वी कैन टॉक अबाउट इज इंफॉर्मेशन मैनेजमेंट पॉलिसी. इन दिस डिजिटल एज फेक न्यूज़ एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है. रूमर्स या फिर फेक न्यूज़, ये सारे बहुत बड़े चैलेंजेस हैं. सो कंट्रीज फॉलो स्ट्रिक्ट इंफॉर्मेशन मैनेजमेंट पॉलिसीज टू शेयर वेरीफाइड एंड टाइमली इंफॉर्मेशन. ऑफिशियल ट्विटर हैंडल्स या यूट्यूब चैनल्स का यूज़ इसलिए किया जाता है ताकि मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन को कंट्रोल किया जा सके. इनफैक्ट वी कैन टेक एन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ दिस. जैसा यूएस के पास एक रूमर कंट्रोल .गवर्नमेंट करके ऐप है, सो दैट वेबसाइट ऑल्सो कंट्रोल्स द मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन दैट इज बीइंग स्प्रेड. देन थर्ड वी कैन टॉक अबाउट इज साइबर सिक्योरिटी पॉलिसी. डिजिटल डिप्लोमेसी का एक इम्पोर्टेंट पिलर है साइबर सिक्योरिटी. सिक्योर डिप्लोमेसी कन्वर्सेशंस और कॉन्फिडेंशियल डेटा को सेफ रखना एक टॉप प्रायोरिटी होता है. दैट इज पॉसिबल थ्रू साइबर सिक्योरिटी पॉलिसीज. इस पॉलिसी का एम ही ये होता है कि डिजिटल एस्पियोनाज और साइबर अटैक्स से बचा सकें हम अपनी फॉरेन पॉलिसीज को. देन वी विल बी टॉकिंग अबाउट डिजिटल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पॉलिसी. सो पॉलिसी इज नाउ नॉट ओनली लिमिटेड टू एम्बेसीज, but also countries are building e-portals for things like visa, aid tracking and virtual meetings. ये digital infrastructure smooth and बहुत cooperative movements allow कर सकता है across nations. Again, this would influence and also impact the nature of two countries. अगर वो आसपास में exchange कर पा रहे हैं, visas हमें online available हो पा रहे हैं, e-portals के through हम information भी डाल पा रहे हैं, so this makes the bond of two nations better. With this technical diplomacy policies, तो टेक डिप्लोमेसी इज बेसिकली आज की दुनिया में टेक्नोलॉजी खुद एक डिप्लोमेटिक सब्जेक्ट बन चुका है. कंट्रीज नाउ कोलैबोरेट ऑन डिजिटल रूल्स, डेटा प्रिवेसी एंड AI स्टैंडर्ड्स, जैसे G20 फॉर एग्जांपल या फिर ITU या UN के डिजिटल समिट्स टू शेप फ्यूचर ऑफ ग्लोबल टेक गवर्नेंस. सो ओवरऑल डिजिटल डिप्लोमेसी के पीछे सिर्फ टूल्स नहीं है, पॉलिसीज भी होती है. ये पॉलिसीज इंश्योर करती है कि डिप्लोमेसी सिक्योर हो, इंक्लूसिव हो एंड फ्यूचर रेडी हो. देन आई विल ऑल्सो गिव यू नाउ द बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस इन इंडिया एंड ऑल्सो द बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस ग्लोबली. सो इंडियाज डिजिटल डिप्लोमेसी इज वेरी स्ट्रैटेजिक, इट्स पीपल सेंट्रिक एंड इट्स टेक फॉरवर्ड. सो it blends traditional diplomacy with modern tools to build trust, promote culture and influence globally. तो इसमें भी public engagement, four pillars we have. So the first pillar is public policy engagement. India actively engages foreign public through social media platforms. सोचो पहले foreign policy एक closed door affair हुआ करती थी. आज अगर MEA कुछ भी ट्वीट करता है तो पूरी दुनिया उसे रियल टाइम में फॉलो करने लगती है. Also, MEA India's official Twitter handle is one of the most followed ministry handle. इसके और भी एग्जाम्पल्स हो सकते हैं, जैसे कैंपेन्स लाइक #IndiaForHumanity जो ग्लोबल ह्यूमैनिटेरियन वैल्यूज को प्रमोट करता है, या आज़ादी का अमृत महोत्सव जिसने भारत को फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल का सेलिब्रेशन दिखाया था. इन सबको सोशल मीडिया के जरिए हमने ग्लोबल लेवल पर रीच कराया है. ऑल्सो यूट्यूब पर जो डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज होते हैं, फेसबुक पर जो कल्चरल स्टोरीज होती हैं, ट्विटर पर रियल टाइम अपडेट्स, लाइक ये बहुत डेली चीज़ें हैं जो हम देखते हैं, एंड ये सारा पार्ट ऑफ डिजिटल डिप्लोमेसी इटसेल्फ है. तो इंडिया ने अपने फॉरेन पब्लिक के साथ एक डायरेक्ट कनेक्शन एस्टैब्लिश कर लिया है. सो नाउ डिप्लोमेसी इज नॉट ओनली बिटवीन द लीडर्स बट इट इज ऑल्सो इंक्लूडिंग अदर पीपल, द जनरल पब्लिक. The second pillar we talk about is cyber security and data protection policy. So India's digital diplomacy includes strict cyber security protocols to protect sensitive data and diplomatic communications. जब बात डिजिटल डिप्लोमेसी की होती है तो कनेक्ट करना जितना ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है उससे ज़्यादा ज़रूरी उस चीज़ को प्रोटेक्ट करना है, और यही इंडिया का स्ट्रॉन्ग साइबर सिक्योरिटी नेटवर्क का एडवांटेज है। जब डिजिटल डिप्लोमेसी होती है तो सिक्योरिटी सबसे पहले आती है। India has developed robust cyber security frameworks to ensure sensitive diplomatic conversations that उनका breach ना हो। For example, we can take that 2022 में जब MEA ने Indo-Pacific strategic documents and confidential discussions digitally share किए थे आपस में, तो multiple embassies and allies भी उसके part थे। उन सभी communications को end-to-end encrypted channels के through share किया गया था। ये डॉक्यूमेंट्स इंडिया के स्ट्रैटेजिक पार्टनर जैसे जापान, ऑस्ट्रेलिया एंड यूएस के साथ भी डिजिटली सर्कुलेट हुए थे। सब कुछ साइबर सिक्योर आर्किटेक्चर के अंदर हुआ, एंड दिस आल्सो शोड द वर्ल्ड दैट इंडिया कैन बी ट्रस्टेड विद डिजिटल डिप्लोमैटिक ट्रस्ट। सो दिस वाज अ वेरी बिग थिंग फॉर अस। द थर्ड पिलर इज crisis response and humanitarian diplomacy. So India uses digital diplomacy for emergency coordination, such as Operation Ganga or Operation Kaveri. Like if we talk about Operation Kaveri, where Sudan crisis के time पे इंडिया ने real time Twitter updates, WhatsApp helpline, MEA के portals को use किया था ताकि वो 3000 इंडियन nationals को वहाँ से evacuate करा दे। This mission also showed the digital diplomacy's role in rapid crisis response. तो चाहे वो ऑपरेशन गंगा हो ड्यूरिंग यूक्रेन वॉर या फिर वो ऑपरेशन कावेरी हो, इंडिया ने डिजिटल डिप्लोमेसी का यूज टू इवैक्यूएट सिटीजंस एंड सेंड अलर्ट्स एंड कोऑर्डिनेट रिलीफ बहुत अच्छे से किया है थ्रू डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म्स। एम्बेसीज ने भी व्हाट्सएप, एसएमएस अलर्ट एंड ट्विटर से लोगों का डायरेक्ट हेल्प पहुंचाया है। एंड द फोर्थ पिलर दैट वी टॉक अबाउट इज टेक्नो डिप्लोमेसी और ग्लोबल टेक गवर्नेंस। India promotes equity in global technological governance by participating in international forums. So India आज के international technology governance forums में actively participate करता है। Example इसके अभी G20, ITU या BRICS भी हो सकता है। And India ने अपने successful models भी निकाले हैं, जैसे आधार कार्ड जो हमारा डिजिटल आईडी है, UPI जो हमारा डिजिटल पेमेंट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, एंड कोविन जो एक वैक्सीन प्लेटफॉर्म है। ये सबको ग्लोबल लेवल पर शेयर करना स्टार्ट कर दिया इंडिया ने। इसको कहते हैं डिजिटल टेक्नो डिप्लोमेसी। एंड वन एग्जांपल वी कैन आल्सो टेक दैट G20 के अंदर इंडिया प्रेसिडेंसी में इंडिया ने वन फ्यूचर अलायंस प्रपोज किया था, जिसमें डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज को इंडिया की डिजिटल स्टैक टेक्नोलॉजी फ्री या लो कॉस्ट में शेयर करने का प्रपोजल था, ताकि उनकी भी डिजिटल कैपेसिटी स्ट्रांग हो पाए। हम मल्टी स्टेक होल्डर इंटरनेट गवर्नेंस का सपोर्टर, हम उसको सपोर्ट करते हैं जिसमें नेशनल सोवरेनिटी एंड ग्लोबल ओपननेस दोनों चीजें बैलेंस करी जा सकती है। सो बेसिकली ट्रेडिशनल डिप्लोमेसी एंड मॉडर्न डिजिटल टूल्स का जो भी ब्लेंड इंडिया ने क्रिएट किया है वो हमें एक स्ट्रॉन्ग ग्लोबल कम्युनिकेटर बनाता है। नाउ वील सी द ग्लोबल प्रैक्टिसेस। सो स्वीडन, इफ वी we'll first talk about यूरोपियन यूनियन। तो यूरोपियन यूनियन के अंदर GDPR का जो कंसेप्ट था, दैट वाज जनरल डेटा प्रोटेक्शन रेगुलेशन। 2018 में यूरोपियन यूनियन ने इसको इम्प्लीमेंट किया था, एक स्ट्रॉन्ग डेटा प्रोटेक्शन लॉ। ये सिर्फ यूरोपियन यूनियन के लोगों की प्राइवेसी प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए नहीं था, ये एक ग्लोबल मैसेज था कि यूरोपियन यूनियन डिजिटल वर्ल्ड में एक एथिकल लीडर बनना चाहता है। GDPR का influence, it is also known as the Brussels effect. It encouraged all the other countries and companies worldwide to adopt similar data protection regulation, extending EU norms beyond its border. So by exporting इसका regulatory framework, EU also strengthened the geopolitical influence of itself, and basically this move positioned itself as a leader in global digital governance. हर देश डिप्लोमेसी को एक टूल नहीं बल्कि अपनी आइडेंटिटी और ग्लोबल एम्बिशन का हिस्सा बनाना चाहते हैं। When we talk about वर्ल्ड हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, सो WHO का ग्लोबल डिजिटल हेल्थ सर्टिफिकेशन नेटवर्क, दैट वाज GDHCN, Now, what happened was that in response to COVID-19 pandemic and the global need for secure digital vaccine certificates, WHO ने Global Health Digital Certificate Network launch कर दिया. Now, this helped citizens in such a vast way that 130 member states, governments and health authorities ने standardize कर दिया and इस चीज़ को recognize system for digital health certificate बना लिया कि ठीक है ये चीज़ भी हो सकती है. This required intense cross-border digital negotiation, technical alignments and trust building between companies. तो क्लासिक डिजिटल डिप्लोमेसी इधर ही एक्शन में आ चुकी थी जब WHO ने कोविड के टाइम में अपना ये वाला एक्शन लिया था. Then if we talk about UAE, so UAE's national branding and digital governance initiatives जो है ये AI powered platforms भी include करते हैं and international engagement को भी promote करते हैं. UAE ने अपने डिप्लोमेसी को सिर्फ ट्रेडिशनल मीटिंग्स तक सीमित नहीं रखा है, उन्होंने AI और डिजिटल गवर्नेंस से स्मार्ट ब्रांडिंग के साथ मिक्स कर दिया है. तो ये एक फ्यूचरिस्टिक डिप्लोमेटिक स्टाइल बन गया उनका. लाइक फॉर अ वेरी नाइस एग्जांपल, जस्ट इमेजिन जब पूरी दुनिया कोविड के बाद रिकवरी मोड में थी तब UAE ने अपना एक्सपो 2020 दुबई जैसा ग्रैंड ग्लोबल इवेंट होस्ट कर दिया था. एक ऐसा इवेंट जहाँ दुनिया भर की कंट्रीज आए, अपने इनोवेशंस दिखाए एंड UAE ने अपनी इमेज बनाई एज अ वेरी टेक savvy एंड वेरी ग्लोबल कनेक्टर कंट्री. So then we can take example of Sweden. तो स्वीडन के अंदर it participates in Freedom Online Coalition and also EU के digital diplomacy toolkits. स्वीडन ने emphasize किया transparency को. It emphasized transparency, it emphasized human rights and citizen engagement in digital diplomacy by participating in coalition and leveraging the platform. So it also promoted honest and open human-centered communication. The country also advocated for integrating cyber and digital diplomacy into border, strengthening its own collective response to cyber threats and enhancing its own democratic value online. So that established Sweden's image as a very digital front in the global platform. Now, covering the global initiatives, we would also go forward with what careers we can have in digital diplomacy and what to beginning, like just a basic guide that किस हमें job titles काफी बार नहीं पता होते कि हमें apply तो करना है, we want a career but what title should we choose. So I'll try helping you guys out with that. So first can be, अगर diplomacy careers चाहिए, so first can be AI policy strategist. इसके अंदर you design national and international policies around AI and you ensure that AI is aligned with ethics and security and diplomatic goals of the country. So the basic starts that you can do is you can have your degree in international relations and an additional course in AI, and you can opt for jobs in Ministry of External Affairs का public policy division or the cyber diplomacy wing. Also, Niti Aayog gives many opportunities in the same field, AI policy strategist and emerging tech policies. Then Indian missions and embassies में भी digital outreach and crisis communication जो है, ये चीज़ें में आप जा सकते हो. Then you can have a digital ethics advisor. So basically in this job title, you advise government or international bodies on how to use digital tools responsibly. You address concerns like surveillance, misinformation and digital rights. So UN, now you can apply to UN as well, and United Nations के अंदर there are UNDP, UNESCO, UNGA, Tech Envoy. तो UN के खुद के portals होते हैं and उन portals के अंदर उनका job description होता है. So job description को पढ़ना is very important and you should give them what they're asking for. जो job description में वो चीज़ें fulfill करने का हमें try करना चाहिए. And आपका prior experience भी बहुत matter करता है. So internships carry out करके digital ethics advisor के लिए you can try for UN. And then World Economic Forums हो जाते हैं या फिर internet governance forums जितने भी हैं, they can also provide a job for this. Then AI and global governance consultant. So you work with the global institutions to shape international agreements, rules and standards for emerging technologies like AI and data sharing. इसके अंदर ORF is one of the organization that gives internships. Gateway House हो गया या फिर Global Partners Digital. If you want to try for UK, then Global Partners Digital is a very nice platform there that provides a kickstart for this career. एंड इंडिया के अंदर सेंटर फॉर इंटरनेट एंड सोसाइटी है, जिसके आप लिंक्डइन पोस्ट भी देखोगे तो वो लोग अपना इंटर्नशिप्स निकालते हैं, सो यू विल गेट टू नो अबाउट दैट. देन इट इज डिप्लोमेटिक डेटा एनालिस्ट. So you use data tools to track trends in foreign policy, public opinion or diplomatic communication. इसमें you turn digital data into actionable insights for the diplomats. Also, you can work with big tech companies in this, जैसा Google and Meta, Microsoft. इसके specified domain will be public policy and global governance division. And international consultancies भी हैं, PwC, EY या McKinsey, जो जियो पॉलिटिकल एंड टेक स्ट्रैटेजी आर्म्स वाले साइड में आप लोगों को यही सेम टाइटल के बारे में इंटर्नशिप्स भी दे सकते हैं, एज वेल एज ट्रेनिंग भी प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं. And AI and data governance startups या NGOs are also a good option to start with this. And the fields that you can choose for your diplomacy careers can be international relations, political science, public policy, global governance, computer science या फिर AI and data science if you want to go in थोड़ा सा technical focused roles. And also embassies hire on the basis of language. So you can also focus on a specific language while you're considering these courses. Then digital content and communication diplomacy के अंदर, so digital public diplomacy officer is the one who plans and runs online diplomatic campaigns. Foreign policy content strategist is the one who crafts global communication strategies. An embassy social media manager handles embassy's public image on digital platforms. And जो narrative architect होता है global affairs के लिए, वो develop करते थे, that is basically developing and storytelling data to enhance its natural and national soft power. So इसके अंदर भी MEA offers special courses, special trainings that in the public diplomacy and external communication divisions. Then Indian embassies and consulates also content creation and event promotion के divisions के अंदर आपको इसमें provide कर सकते हैं. यूरोपियन यूनियन ऑल्सो हैज इट्स ओन पोर्टल, तो यूरोपियन यूनियन पे भी अपडेट्स होते हैं उसके इंटर्नशिप्स के रिलेटेड, दैट इज फोकस्ड ऑन डिजिटल कंटेंट एंड कम्युनिकेशन डिप्लोमेसी रोल्स. एंड टेक कंपनीज हो जाती हैं, ग्लोबल पीआर फर्म्स हो जाती है जैसे एल्डमन, MSL या फिर वेबर शैंडविक इफ यू हर्ड ऑफ इट. तो इंटरनेशनली यू कैन ट्राई इन दीज. एंड फॉरेन पॉलिसी मीडिया आउटलेट्स हो जाते हैं जैसे द डिप्लोमेट है, फॉरेन पॉलिसी है या DW, तो यहाँ पर भी ट्राई कर सकते हैं. ऑल्सो एज अ रिसर्चर और एज अ क्रिएटर, it's a very nice opportunity of digital diplomacy labs that is provided by Sweden. So udhar also you guys can go for a kickstart career if you're looking outside of India. Then we have another sector that is cyber security and tech diplomacy. तो इसके अंदर first is cyber diplomacy analyst. So you help the government shape global cyber norms. आप सजेशंस देते हो कि साइबर नॉर्म्स में हम कैसे हेल्प कर सकते हैं, साइबर नॉर्म्स या डिजिटल थ्रेट से हम कैसे प्रिवेंट कर सकते हैं अपने नेशन को, या नेशनल साइबर सिक्योरिटी का इंटरेस्ट कैसे हम और बढ़ा सकते हैं इंटरनेशनल फोरम्स के अंदर. सो फॉर दिस यू परस्यू अ डिग्री इन इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस और साइबर सिक्योरिटी, एंड देन यू कैन intern with MEA cyber diplomacy division or the cyber initiative by various organizations and take certified courses इन साइबर पॉलिसी. आपको NATO, UN एंड edX ये तीनों सर्टिफाइड कोर्सेज देते हैं साइबर पॉलिसी में, सो यू कैन लुक आउट फॉर देम. देन द सेकंड कैन बी डिजिटल सोवरेनिटी ऑफिसर. सो यू फोकस ऑन प्रोटेक्टिंग अ नेशंस कंट्रोल ओवर इट्स डिजिटल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, इट्स डेटा एंड इंटरनेट गवर्नेंस एंड ग्लोबल प्लेटफॉर्म्स. इसके लिए यू कैन स्टडी पब्लिक पॉलिसी, technical law, computer science. You can take short courses on digital sovereignty and data governance. Also, इसके लिए internships are actively provided. सो इंटर्नशिप्स के लिए यू कैन अप्लाई फॉर सेंटर फॉर नॉलेज सोवरेनिटी या फिर DSCI और सेंटर फॉर सिविल सोसाइटी। ये तीनों लिंक्डइन पे एक्टिवली पोस्ट करते हैं इंटर्नशिप्स के बारे में इनकी। Then the third is AI conflict prevention strategies. So you use AI tools to monitor potential conflict zones, analyze the cyber threats, and advise on preventative technical diplomacy measures that lead to peace building. So you can combine a degree in data science as well as in AI with global affairs, or you can complete an AI ethics या cyber warfare का course, and you can intern with Trends Research Organization that provides its internships on LinkedIn. You can also work with Alliance for Peace Building that you have to mail them and then they tell you the vacancy. You can also work with International Center for Peace and Studies. So ICPS is a very nice platform for conflict prevention if you want to try. They give out various internships, I think in batches of summer and winter. And Indian Forum for Public Diplomacy is also a platform that you can try to kickstart in this career. And then we'll talk about youth and cultural digital diplomacy. So, digital cultural attaché, you represent your country's cultural heritage and soft power through digital campaigns, virtual exhibitions, and online collaboration. इसके लिए also you can specify in a degree of international relations or cultural studies, and you can intern at ICCR, British Council, and you can work on digital cultural storytelling or managing online cultural events for embassies. You can also start by managing cultural events at local levels so that you have experience that you gain for this, and then you can apply to various embassies also for this. Then it is youth diplomacy coordinator. So you engage with young global audiences through digital platform and student exchanges. Debates and collaborative efforts are also there. So the collaborative projects also promote international understanding. To pursue this, you can pursue political science, public policy, or youth leadership. You can join or intern with Youth Envoy, UNESCO youth programs that you can again find on the UN portal, or the student-led MUN bodies and digital youth forums or campaigns. Then we have a virtual exchange manager program. So you design and manage virtual student academic and cultural exchange program between countries using digital platforms like Zoom, Metaverse, or learning portals. So for this also you can begin by studying international education or global studies. Public diplomacy can also be added as an additional course to this. And you take short courses in ed tech tools, and you intern with educational diplomacy divisions. Like embassies have their own educational diplomacy division, so you can intern with them. Or you can intern with Fulbright or global NGOs organizing virtual exchange programs. Then we'll talk about data and visualization diplomacy. So, data storytelling officer, global affairs is basically you handle global affairs through this. You turn a complex international data into an engaging visual story to communicate diplomatic messages, global aid flows, or public sentiment to the global audience. So if you are very advanced with your data skills and the visualization editing skills, so you can opt for this, and you can start by studying data journalism, public policy, or you can also learn the Tableau, Canva, or Flourish, and you can intern with IIHS, that is Indian Institute for Human Settlement. They provide very often internships for this, and MEA's Analysis Wing or the Republic World Network. So these three places can provide you good internships with them or the training programs. Then we move on to foreign policy data visualization expert. So here you build charts, you build dashboards and infographics that explain foreign policy trends, diplomatic outcomes, and global event for diplomats or the general public. So you can combine political science or economics with data science. You can take courses on data visualization, and you can intern with think tanks such as CPR, Brookings, PRS India. Also, you can work on digital reporting. Even CSTEP, that is Center for Study of Science, Technology and Policy, provides good research opportunities in this, and PRS Legislative Research also offers great opportunities. So they can be a good kickstart for foreign policy data visualization expert training. Then we have geoanalytics diploma. So you use geographical data like maps and satellite imagery and migration flows to support strategic foreign policy decision, humanitarian aid, and crisis response. For this, you can specialize in geopolitics and remote sensing, security studies. You can master tools like Google Earth Engine, and internships also would help. Internships can be provided by India Spend or factchecker.in. They give their application out on LinkedIn, and they're very regular with this. Also, Manohar Parikar Institute for Defense Studies and Analysis, that is IDSA, and National Institute for Advanced Studies, that is NIAS. They accept application on the basis of emails or some faculty coordinator. So you can search on LinkedIn, you can find their faculty, you can coordinate and connect with them on LinkedIn, and then you can put in a word for such courses. Yes, so that's all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Kriti. Just before I come in, just want to hear from everyone if you have any questions. I'm sure, I mean, at least I encounter a lot of IR students in our internship. So I'm assuming that there are some IR students in our audience here today also. So just before, I come in, any questions? And has yes, Janni, please. You had a question. Anyone who has a question can raise their hands and can ask. Yes, I am, sir.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am, for this wonderful session. It was really informative. So, I do agree with all that digital diplomacy has the potential to achieve, but two recent blunders also come to my mind while talking about digital diplomacy. Recently, during Operation Sindoor, our foreign secretary was attacked so bad that he had to make his Twitter account from public to private, and not only him, his daughter and his wife, their old pictures were dug up, and even they were attacked. And second was during farmers' protest around 2020, some some international celebs like Rihanna and 2-3 more prominent names supported it, saying supported the farmers' protest, and the MEA's response was releasing some campaigns like India Standing Together, which also received significant backlash. So, I mean, these instances will come. There are cons with pros, but any light you would like to shed on this?
So of course these two have been a blunder, and now every pro have their own con as well. If something has a pro, if it shares a lot of advantages, it will have a few disadvantages also. And I think the thing that lacked was basic decency. Actually, what you're saying is, first of all, I would suggest that personal attack can be a very big thing that happened over there. So this should have not happened, but specific iska koi suggestion I don't think I can give. But I would just say कि foreign policies and digital diplomacy का use in our hands. We are already trying to build techniques जिससे इसको affect ना हो, and we circle around the security of it. But again, उसका particularly उसका use किस way में हो रहा है, that again depends on us as what we are using it for. It can be used for a bad influence also, or it can be used for a good outcome also. So I think that is my view, if that answers your question.
Right. Thank you so much.
Just to add, I think, and just from a careers perspective specifically, I think this is something that started happening and this is something that is in the policy space in general also, that these are all very close spaces, right? Like before, if a ministry wanted to do a program, they would basically go to an IAS officer who was the secretary of that ministry and say that you design the program. But slowly there is an openness in the government, which is also coming from a place of there is a need for people to come in, right? In the sense that now, if I am an IFS officer, I am not necessarily an expert in tech, or I'm not an expert in digital communications, right? So there is now an opportunity for organizations or young individuals to come in who have an expertise on, let's say, just social media, which is because if you look at, for example, MEA, the way that MEA went down the social media route was a very simple human-centric approach, right? At the time of Sushma Swaraj's ma'am's tenure as a foreign minister, that's when you saw the MEA sort of become a democratic institution. That as a individual, I could just write on a Twitter and say that I'm stuck here, please help, right? So from there has been a certain openness to saying that how do I start using digital mediums to drive diplomacy. And I think that's where a lot of organizations are now. The reason that they're able to do more work is simply because the government is more is very receptive to doing something about it. So I think to all of you who are doing IR, because I speak to so many people who are doing IR, then I like, now where do we go from here, especially in a country like India? I feel like, if India has a very active thought process on how are we using digital means to drive diplomacy, that's when a lot of these issues will get averted, right? And that's where our role as young people come in, because we always have a digital first mindset. I mean, we're all 25, 26, somebody's 21, 20, right? So all of us have grown up in a world that's inherently digital, as opposed to somebody who's 50, for whom digital is an afterthought, right? And there is an openness to hear out what the youth is to say. Yes, Pia, please come in.
Thank you so much, sir. Kriti, it was an excellent session. First of all, you beautifully made a balance between traditional diplomacy and the notions of digital diplomacy. However, coming back to this question, apart from the balance, I would like to ask you a very comparative question on this. That given the sort of dominance certain nations seem to have in geopolitical pacts like NATO and European Union and at times SARC also, how do you think digital diplomacy tools could empower the small states, the states that are often unseen or passed on more than traditional diplomacy ever could? I would like to ask that question.
Okay, hi Pia. First of all, that's really a nice question. So you're saying that how the smaller nations, how are they going to get attention with all the digital diplomacy? So I think digital diplomacy is somehow already addressing those nations. Like if you see Africa's health, like Africa's hunger or anything, they are all being more promoted digitally. We as citizens are aware because they are present on our Instagram, they're present on our Twitter, and there is political debates that go on regarding this. So I think it more of throws a light on them, even if the pact somehow might exclude some nations and not and shadow them, put them to another corner. But I think other nations are constantly actively, like the smaller nations, they can reach out for help easily through a digital platform. I feel like any cry for help from a nation, if promoted digitally, goes out on a very big global scale, that even the general public of all nations want the nations to support that country. So I think it is somehow digital diplomacy is better than traditional diplomacy for smaller nations, because it's throwing more light on them, as traditional diplomacy couldn't do. But digital diplomacy is putting out more wider light, and even the public gets to know of any country, so they also ask their government to support the other nation and give out their feedback for the same. So I think it is helpful if that addresses, and if Siddhartha would like to add something to it.
No, I mean, mostly covered. I think just we were discussing this yesterday only. Me and Kriti were discussing about this India-Pakistan conflict that happened, and the entire digital aspect of it also, right? Like a lot of discussion happened around saying that should India have blocked Pakistani accounts? Should India have actually used the Pakistani accounts in terms of, pushing the narrative or pushing the truth out of what is happening in a country like Pakistan, where people, for example, do not have access to basic resources, yet they're trying to fight a war, right? So, I mean, there is like Kriti said, there is a lot of thought process on how do you use digital to push out your narrative, right? Because if I was, and we often discuss this, if any of you are an avid reader of international relations, you'll understand that the way the UN is structured, it's the UN headquarters is in New York. It's on Fifth Avenue. It's in a very expensive place of New York, right? So now, while for a country like India, it's not a very difficult thing for a diplomat to be going to a US for a UN General Assembly meeting. But I mean, there are countries like Tuvalu that you wouldn't have heard of, right? Or Papua New Guinea. These are extremely small nations, extremely poor nations. So for them to be going to these meetings, being able to sponsor their travel, their accommodation, etc., is not something that's entirely democratic. So, because of that, these institutions were inherently undemocratic in the way they were structured. On the other hand, tech inherently becomes democratic, and countries in the African continent or the Asian continent always had the disadvantage of population. But from a tech perspective, that is what becomes a advantage, that you now can sort of harness that big population, and that's how India is also becoming a force to reckon with, right? That, I mean, if India wants to push out a narrative, they have 1.4 billion people, out of which, even if a 50% is on social media, that means 700 million people pushing out a single narrative. That's more than double of what if everyone in Europe was pushing it out, right? So, I mean, just from pure numbers, countries that are traditionally backward, traditionally poorer, etc., are actually, have the strength of numbers to be able to put out numbers on a digital lens. But interesting point raised, Priya. Thanks for that. Anyone else who has any questions?
Thank you for the insights, sir.
Okay. All right. Anyone else who has any questions? Closing thoughts?
I
Yes,
would
Bhagat.
like.
Yes,
So
Imanchi, yes.
basically, Priti has said in the career section, because whenever we go through and pursue any career, it's because we want to make some money out of it. So when she actually mentioned that we have careers in embassy, so adding on to it, embassy clearly does not really hold any digital or any diplomacy based power. Basically, all they want is language command. All of those qualities come in the degree, but then all they want is language command. Suppose if we want to apply in Chinese embassy, if you want to apply in Italian embassy, if you have to apply in France embassy, so your language needs to be the first thing if you're pursuing the career in embassies. So that is only specifically for that. So that's what I want to add. So language is one thing you need to have a command on before jumping onto any embassy work. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Ranshi. Bhagwan, you had raised your hand. Do you want to come in?
थैंक यू मैम. गुड मॉर्निंग सर. गुड मॉर्निंग मैम. मैम, जैसे कि आपने पॉजिटिव साइड बताया सब कुछ, जो कि काफ़ी अच्छा था, बहुत सारी चीज़ें सीखने को मिली. बट अगर हम एज अ रिसर्चर सोचें तो इसकी नेगेटिव साइड्स क्या हो सकते हैं? जैसे कि पहले नेगेटिव साइड्स देखेंगे और उसके बाद फिर हम मॉडरेट पे जाएंगे कि पहले मतलब पॉजिटिव देखा, फिर नेगेटिव साइड्स तो आपने बताया नहीं कि इसके ये मिसयूज़ हो सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल EU का एक डाटा है, उसके अंदर वो बोलता है कि जैसे कि आजकल पूरा जो ग्लोबल है वो ग्लोबल इन्फ्लुएंस करती है. हर कंट्री चाहती है कि मेरा ग्लोबल इन्फ्लुएंस हो. तो इसमें EU कहता है कि बहुत सारी ऐसी कंट्रीज हैं जो कि उसको मतलब मैनिपुलेट करती हैं और उसकी सिक्योरिटी और इंटीग्रिटी को इन्फ्लुएंस करती हैं या फिर हार्म करती हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल, अभी जस्ट रिसेंटली ट्रम्प का एक ट्वीट आया जिसमें उन्होंने ईरान को बोला कि चलो भाई तुम सरेंडर कर दो. ओके. फिर उससे पहले अगर हम देखते हैं तो हमारा जो ऑपरेशन सिंदूर से पहले इंडिया पाकिस्तान का जो वॉर तो नहीं चल रहा था, बट जो भी कॉन्फ्लिक्ट था उसके अंदर भी ट्रम्प जो है वो इन्फ्लुएंस करते हैं कि चलो भाई तुम लोग पीस जो भी है वो कर लो, मतलब बातचीत कर लो, कि हमने करवा दिया. तो आपको क्या लगता है कि डिजिटल डिप्लोमेसी का पॉजिटिव साइड तो बहुत अच्छा है कि हाँ हम अच्छे से यूज़ कर सकते हैं, बट इसको मिसयूज़ भी तो हो रहा है और बहुत जगह हो रहा है, और ऐसा हर कंट्रीज करना चाहती हैं. अमेरिका अभी पावर में है तो अमेरिका का इन्फ्लुएंस बहुत ज़्यादा है. फॉर एग्जांपल, इससे पहले जब हमने न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट किया था उस टाइम पे अमेरिका ने बोला कि हम आपको यूरेनियम नहीं देंगे. उसके बाद फिर ऑल ओवर वर्ल्ड बहुत सारी कंट्रीज ने हमें यूरेनियम देना बंद कर दिया, क्योंकि ये एज अ डिप्लोमेसी थी, क्योंकि डिजिटल डिप्लोमेसी तब भी थी. पहली चीज़. दूसरी चीज़ कि डिजिटल डिप्लोमेसी की अगर हम बात करते हैं तो अगर हम मतलब इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे ना जाकर के सिर्फ अगर अपने ही स्टेट में बात करें, मतलब नेशन में बात करें, तो जैसे कि फॉर एग्जांपल बहुत सारी जगह पे दंगे हो जाते हैं, दंगे या फिर फार्मर प्रोटेस्ट हो जाता है या कुछ भी हो जाता है, या फिर जो अभी प्रयागराज में हुआ, तो वहां पे हम इंटरनेट कनेक्टिविटी को बंद कर देते हैं, ठीक है। तो इससे आपको नहीं लगता कि गवर्नमेंट जो है वो सिर्फ अपनी पॉलिसी प्रमोट करना चाहती है इंस्टेड ऑफ जो लोग कहना चाहते हैं वो नहीं। अभी एक डिजिटल लॉ भी आने वाला था, उस पर डिबेट्स एंड डिस्कशन चल रहा है, तीसरा पॉइंट है ये। तो उसमें ऐसा है कि किसी को अगर गवर्नमेंट को लगता है कि कोई भी उसके अगेंस्ट जा रहा है या कुछ भी ऐसा कुछ बोल रहा है, तो वो उसको एकदम बैन कर सकता है और उसके सारी चीजें जब्त कर लेगा, ठीक है। ये तीसरा पॉइंट है। तो आपको नहीं लगता कि ये तीनों पॉइंट डिजिटल डिप्लोमेसी अपार्ट फ्रॉम द पॉजिटिव साइड्स देयर आर सम नेगेटिव साइड्स ऑफ इट, एंड इसको हम एज अ मॉडरेट कैसे कर सकते हैं कि अच्छा पॉजिटिव ये है, नेगेटिव ये है, और कंक्लूजन ये है, ये इन चीजों को हमें करेक्ट करने की जरूरत है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक पर्सन है, मुझे उसका नाम याद नहीं आ रहा, उसने 2024 के इलेक्शन में बहुत ज्यादा इन्फ्लुएंस किया इलेक्शंस को। उसके बाद ही जो गवर्नमेंट है बीजेपी ऐसा कह रही थी 400 पार 400 पार, बट उसके बहुत कम आ पाए। क्यों? क्योंकि कॉज ऑफ डिजिटल डिप्लोमेसी, नॉट एज अ मतलब गवर्नमेंट तो यूज नहीं कर रही थी, बट अगर गवर्नमेंट ऐसा लॉ बना देती कि बाकी सब लोग यूज ना कर पाए तो हम लोगों को कैसे अवेयर हो पाता। उसका कुछ नाम है राठी, हाँ ध्रुव राठी ऐसा। तो ये 4 क्वेश्चंस हैं, मतलब 4 पॉइंट्स हैं। तो आपको क्या लगता है कि इसको हम एज अ क्रिटिसाइजेशन या फिर मैनिपुलेटिव वे में करता है, नहीं करता है, अगर करता है तो कैसे करता है, और फिर हम इसको कैसे एज अ मॉडरेट पर लेके जा सकते हैं? थैंक यू।
Okay, so again, just like I said कि डिजिटल कोई भी चीज़ के नेगेटिव एंड पॉजिटिव दोनों एस्पेक्ट होते हैं, एंड डिजिटल डिप्लोमेसी का माय फोकस फॉर दिस वेबिनार वाज पब्लिक पॉलिसी से उस चीज़ को रिलेट करना एंड उसके अंदर थोड़ा करियर्स बता देना। बट ऑब्वियसली अगर हम इफ वी डाइव डीपर इनटू डिजिटल डिप्लोमेसी, तो अपार्ट फ्रॉम द थिंग्स यू लिस्टेड, डिजिटल डिप्लोमेसी कैन आल्सो समटाइम्स क्रिएट अ डिवाइड बिटवीन कंट्रीज। मतलब अगर ओपिनियंस टू स्ट्रॉन्ग शेप्ड होते हैं तो वो डिवाइड भी क्रिएट कर सकता है, मिस इंटरप्रिटेशन भी हो सकता है, क्योंकि वर्चुअल टेक्स्ट का आपको टोन नहीं पता तो वो मिस इंटरप्रेट भी करी जा सकती है। इन्फॉर्मेशन एंड कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी प्रोटेक्ट कर रहे हैं, बट व्हाट इफ वो कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी भी लूज हो गई, तो मतलब डिसएडवांटेजेस बहुत सारे हो सकते हैं, उतने ही जितने टेक्निकल चीज़ के हो सकते हैं। लाइक कोई ग्लिचेस या कुछ भी चीज़ बहुत बड़ी चीज़ लीक कर सकती है, एंड यू नो हैक हो गया अगर, तो ये सारी चीज़ें हैं। But again, इसके लिए there are the measures that every country is trying to take and improve in their own cyberspace, their own technological and digital space. That is, they are building fact-checking alliances. वो लोग फैक्ट्स को एक्चुअल में फोकस रखते हुए अलायंसेस चेक कर रहे हैं। वो लोग डिजिटल कैपेसिटी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, डिजिटल कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग के प्रमोशंस कर रहे हैं कि कैसे हम अपनी डिजिटल कैपेसिटी को और ज़्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग बिल्ड कर सकते हैं, उनको और ज़्यादा एड्रेस कर सकते हैं। इनफैक्ट इंडिया ने भी जो DPI वाली चीज़ है वो यही है कि हमने डिजिटल अपना इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर स्ट्रॉन्ग किया ताकि हम डिजिटल कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग कर पाए। सो लैंग्वेजेस कैन बी ऑल्सो मोर क्लियर कि मतलब गवर्नमेंट जो कहना चाह रही है, जो सिटीजन्स कहना चाह रहे हैं, दे कैन यूज अ मोर क्लियर लैंग्वेज जो अंडरस्टैंडेबल हो एंड मिस इंटरप्रेट कम हो। सो दिस इज अगेन समथिंग वी एज ऑन आवर पार्ट कैन डू। एंड अबाउट कटिंग, लाइक यू सेड ना कि नेटवर्क्स काट देते हैं, लाइक वो कम्युनिकेशन वहाँ पॉसिबल नहीं होता। समटाइम्स व्हाट हैपेंस इज योर ओपिनियन मैटर्स बट माय ओपिनियन मैटर्स टू। So there are 2 opinions, but because of these 2 opinions, I don't think we can create a very big blunder. और वो opinions जितना ज़्यादा शेयर होंगे उतना ज़्यादा ही बड़ा ब्लंडर हो सकता है, उतना ज़्यादा ही पॉसिबिलिटी है कि चीज़ें मेसअप हो जाए। सो जस्ट उस टेम्परेरी काम को लाने के लिए गवर्नमेंट किसी को चुप नहीं करा रही, सिर्फ उस टेम्परेरीली काम लाने के लिए या वो टेम्परेरी सिचुएशन पे पॉज लाने के लिए आई थिंक दिस हैपेंस। एंड इसका भी, इसको एड्रेस करने के भी तरीके हो सकते हैं, बट अगेन अगर एक आग लगी है उसके अंदर हर कोई ओपिनियन दे तो वो ओपिनियन विल एक्ट लाइक जस्ट द एडिंग फ्यूल टू दैट फायर। सो आई थिंक उस टाइम उसको पर्टिकुलरली पॉज करना इज इम्पोर्टेंट, एंड आई होप दैट एड्रेसेस योर 4 points.
Thank you. Thanks, Kriti. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I think we've had a wonderful time as part of the webinar. Just before we close, wanted to check if whoever can turn on their video. We just want to take a group photo before we close out the webinar. Just to, also most of all recognize Kriti's effort. I think she's put a lot of effort into making the presentation. And kudos to all of you, obviously, for coming on a Saturday morning. So whoever can turn on their videos, it'll be nice if you can turn on your videos. We could take a group photo because just having empty names is not, or just having this thing is not the best thing. Himanshi, don't pin anyone, please. Okay, if anyone else can turn on this video, it'll be perfect. Okay. If 2 other people would have turned on their videos, then we would have all people on video. Anyone else? Sometimes
Bhavan, you had a question. You should open your video at least. You had a question.
मैम इसका कैमरा ब्लर आ रहा है.
Still works for them.
हम सबने कोविड के टाइम आई थिंक काफी बहाने सीख लिए हैं to turn on our cameras. Anyway, I'm just taking the photo then. All right, smile everyone. All right, thank you.